Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC, of course. And today I'm back with a third episode of The Ultimate Fighter Season 30. This is the review. This is the place to be. Again, before I do jump into it, do go and check out our Q&A with Julio Arce. Again, cracking it was with Jordan Asai. Cracking Q&A it was. Go and check it out. It was a great laugh. So let me just get the fight up. So this is the fight that we had up. I couldn't wait for this one. There was so much hype going into this one, as apparently these two were meant to fight beforehand in a different organization. We all know, there you can see Usman there. You can see that is Muhammad Usman. Obviously, Kamaru Usman's brother. Again, this guy's got big shoes to fill. Obviously, the welterweight GOAT, as they say. Not in my eyes. But as the welterweight GOAT, of course, in Kamaru Usman. This is Muhammad Usman, his brother. As I said, he's got big shoes to fill. Can he fill them? He's up against Mitchell Stipe. Again, Muhammad Usman, who is 7-2, and Stipe, who is 5-2. So you got Muhammad of Team Peña and Stipe of Team Nunes. Again, this the show started off very emotional. Usman, it started off Usman saying about his little one passing away, right? Obviously, as some of you may know, I do have kids myself. This did hit home very hard to me. He was saying that his son, I think he said he was just under 3, drowned. Okay, so the show started off very emotional. He was going into detail, talking to his team about how his son passed away. Again, very emotional start, him diving into that again. All his team was in bits, he was in bits. But he said that's the reason and gave him the motivation to fight. Okay, he was a football player beforehand, and then diving in. Apparently, he started doing a bit of kickboxing and then jumped over to the MMA. And as I said, his son gave him that motivation to continue. He's had that obviously experience from his brother in Kamaru Usman. So I was rooting for Usman in this. Okay, that story touched home to me. Obviously, as some of you know, I have kids. It did touch me a little bit. So I was rooting for Usman in this one. Again, let's dive into it. So that's how it started. Again, I've said from day one that Peña is a very, very good coach, very vocal coach, and they had a great game plan coming into this fight because they saw that Mitchell Stipe he coming into the fight. They watched a little bit of tape on him, and he comes into fights with hooks. And Peña was telling Usman to come in down the pipe, jabs, down the pipe, big shots. And let me tell you, when I get into it in a second, it paid dividends, okay? So, as I said from the start, Peña was a very, very good coach, I'll tell you. So, as like last season, they dived into the background of the fighters. So, Mitchell Stipe dived into his little background, dived into his fight history a little bit and his background. And as I said, dived into Usman's background, sparring and training with Usman, his brother. Again, got them big shoes to fill. Both made weight, which is what you want to see. Let me tell you, I couldn't wait to see this fight. I really could not wait. As I said, made weight, very intense stare down in the weigh-ins. Stipe's he's a very cocky guy, I tell you. He was getting in Usman's face. Saying he's going to send him to the gulag and things like that, shouting at him, taunting him. Again, very composed Usman there. Very, very, very composed Usman. Yes, let's dive into the fight. Let's get into it. So round one, very tentative start. Again, remember what I said about Peña telling Usman he was throwing shots down the pipe. And Mitchell, he was throwing them hooks. Very, very worrying first round. All right. Usman got dropped in round one. Mitchell caught him with one of them hooks I was on about. Overhand right hook. Dropped Usman. But fair play to him. He had a great chin. As soon as he got dropped, he was back to his feet and back to throwing that jab, back to throwing them down the pipe shots. But again, it was a very tentative start. But then that happened in the latter round. I think, personally, Mitchell took that first round. Mitchell... He's getting very cocky in there, as we can see. He's hitting his chest. He's throwing his arms in the air. He's getting very cocky with Usman. Again, it's what I'm saying. Usman was staying so composed. I'm so glad he stayed composed because most fighters, again, if he was chatting shit to him, shouting at him, saying, "You're no good, bro. I'm going to send you to the gulag again." He was just shouting at him. What did I say about him shouting at him? Even Dana White was loving his cockiness. Dana White was there saying how he loves this kid. This guy's an animal. And like, again, like, most people like a cocky fighter again. But will it pay dividends? Again, this is only rounds 1 and 2. Will it go to a round 3? Will it not? Will it end in knockout? But that was the end of round. Mitchell won that first round, as I said, dropped Usman. But in round 2, Usman was taking over, landing that jab, throwing a few calf kicks. Peña's advice with that down the pipe jab was paying dividends, as I said. He was picking up, taking over the fight. And as I said, it was 1-1. It was going into the third round. So they had a third round, deciding round, third round. Mitchell being cocky again, throwing his arms in the air, hitting himself in the chin. Again, Usman was taking over the fight, as I said. Gathered his thoughts from that first round. And he was steamrolling him in the third round. And then he landed a big overhand right himself in that third round that wobbled Mitchell. And then he was running after him, Mitchell running away. As you can see where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen, Usman got the unanimous decision win. Let's go, Usman. Again, I was rooting for Usman myself. Again, he's got big shoes to fill, as I've mentioned before. What can we expect from this guy? Again, he had a great gas tank for a heavyweight, I tell you. He's got coming into this fight again with that emotional story. After the fight, he was so emotional, saying, "That was for you, my son. That was for you." Again, I'm rooting for you, Usman. I want you to win the show, mate. Let's go. And then that leaves Peña 2-1 up in the series now. So it started off Peña going 1-0 up. Then Nunes got the last fight, which made it 1-1. And then Mo getting that win there, which makes it 2-1 to Peña. She gets control of the picks. And she picks a flyweight bout. As you see there. Picks a flyweight bout between Chantel of Team Peña and of Team Nunes, Brogan. Okay, and that's going to be an interesting fight again. I can't wait to dive into that one in the next episode. Again, if you've got any thoughts on Usman, do you think he can go all the way? Let me know. Can he go all the way? Can he fill them big boots I've been saying? Thanks, boys, in the chat. Again, I'm rooting for Usman all the way. I said from early doors about that Trayshawn Gore. I said that he would win the show, but he didn't. But I'm rooting for Usman, man. I'm going to go for Usman to win the show. He's only going to get better after that performance. Again, there was a lot of animosity coming into the fight, a lot of backlash and things, because obviously these two were meant to fight before. And he stayed composed in there, man. He had a great jab. Again, what did I say about Peña? Peña's, again, shouting in the corner. Great corner advice. Every time he went back to the stall, she had great advice for him. He stayed composed. I'm rooting for Usman to win the show. If any of you got any thoughts on who you think's going to win the show, I know it's quite early doors. Just give us your thoughts on who you think could potentially go all the way. Yes, Ivan Nicholas, welcome in, buddy. How you doing? You're saying, a quick question. Does Juliana Peña look fine? Fine as usual. Does I'm a fighter? I want reasons to watch. Mate, I'll tell you, it's a lot more better than the last season, me personally, just because I think it's going to get a lot more animosity between the coaches, because if you haven't seen an episode yet, you need to watch one. Reason being, Peña gets so vocal in the corner and she screams and shouts. Doesn't matter what it is, if it's a calf kick, a jab, she screams. And I'm telling you, you're not going to like that if you're in the other corner. But to be fair to Nunes, she's staying calm at the moment. But it's only we're diving into the latter rounds of the Ultimate Fighter. Is it going to stay all nicey? As I said in the first episode, I think it's going to get dicey between the coaches. I really do. Welcome in, John Doe. Welcome in, buddy. Thanks for well, thank you, mate. Thank you for tuning in. Mr. Brown, hope you're doing well, buddy. Yeah, if you've got any thoughts on who you think's... I did say at the start as well, I will dive into that as well. I did say that Peña does have the stronger team, and it's looking like that already. As she is 2-1 up, as I mentioned. Ivan Nicholas again, buddy. But does she look good while screaming in the corner? You're going to have to find out then, buddy. Go and watch it. Go and watch it, Ivan Nicholas, mate. Go on. Go and watch an episode on Fight Pass. if you haven't got a Fight Pass, I think it's on Sky, but I think you have to wait all the way till Friday potentially to watch one. Reason for that because I think Tommy told me. But yeah, if you've got Fight Pass, dive in, watch it every Tuesday. I watch it every Tuesday afternoon after work. I'm liking it so far, man. But as I said, I'm rooting for Usman to win the show just because he touched me with that story about his little boy, and God bless his soul for winning that fight. I was rooting for him. So emotional after the fight. I had a little tear in my eye after the fight. Come on, Usman, let's go. Let's fill them big boots. But again, if as I said at the start, if you've not watched the Q&A with the boys doing Juliana Arce, go and watch it. It was a great laugh. There'll be another Q&A potentially lined up soon. Boys, if you're watching. I'm only joking, I'm only joking. But yeah, that's all I've got time for. Join me next Tuesday for episode 4 of the Ultimate Fighter review. Again, stay locked, stay safe. I'll catch you next time.